Hello everyone, welcome into our Granniecore collaboration. I'm Sheila with Sweetie's Creations and Decor. Welcome on into my channel. So this is sponsored by Make All the Things With Me by Leah. So y'all, thank you Leah for inviting me today. So y'all, we're doing Granniecore, and y'all know that that's really big. Blues. They had seafoam green, the pinks, some pastels, and then they had some other things. So the leopard came in at that time, different things. When you look it up, it gives you all kinds of good examples. So you can always go to Pinterest, and I'm on Pinterest if you want to follow me there. So this was a wood sconce, and they called them sconces back then. I used to do home interiors and gifts, and a lot of them were wood. This had a candle holder. I took it off because I want to use it as a little shelf. So we're like redoing this, but this is something you'd see like this or either around it back in the 80s. And sometimes people cut them out themselves, and sometimes they just bought them from places. This one is really, really heavy. So we're going to paint this up in our French macaroon. We're going to get that painted. Let's get us a big brush here. I'm going to go ahead and just put a coat because we're going to do a chippy method on this. It does kind of have a chippy method on it, but we're going to do a new one. All right. I'm just going to paint this over, and this will go with all the blues. So this is one of the blues you would have kind of seen back in the day. This one might be a little bit more, it was more of a darker country blue sometimes, but you also had this blue. So I think this one will work well. You just found a plain frame, and you just put a print in there, and that's kind of what they did. Just put their print, did that. And cottage, but I really just call mine country. These paints are all made from the earth, so they're all natural. That's why I like to use them. So y'all, please hit that subscribe button today. Give me a heart and a comment, thumbs up. I would appreciate that. That's going to help me grow on YouTube. And I'm trying to grow my channel. And please be kind. And if you will join our playlist, you can watch everybody that's on today. We're recording today. It won't be a live, just a recording, so you can watch those anytime. But be sure and use our playlist, which is above in my description, and watch everybody that's in the event today. And this is kind of soaking up the paint because it is a very dry surface. So don't be afraid to use your paint. Don't be afraid to paint it up. Now I'm going to be covering that up. You also could just put a piece of wood over it if you want to fit a piece of wood in there. You can add a candle back in. I wanted to use it like a shelf, so I had taken the candle out. We are using the paint today. Thank you for watching and subscribing to my channel. I certainly appreciate that. I'm also on other platforms. You can find it under Sweetie's Creations and Decor for any of my platforms. I do have a link tree that you can go to and find out where else I am. Okay. There we go. Turn that back around a little bit. Get that good and dry. See one little place up under the lip here. Let's get that. Not that I think it's going to show that much, but we want to kind of make it look good. As best we can. This is old, but I'm okay with it. Get that good and dry. You want it to be really good and dry. Okay, we got that good and dry. Now we're going to take some of our beeswax by Paint Pixie, and this is the icicle. So you can use wax, you can use a candle. I'm going to use this because it made it really nice the other day, made it a little easier. See, I had a brush to use. Let me get another one. Just grab, I kind of use an older brush to put it on with. And you're just going to take it and just put enough on your brush. There's no rhyme or reason to the way you do it. And then you're just going to place it on your surface, just like this. I think I will get this brush. I think I like this brush better. So let's do this one instead of that one. So let's just put a little bit on, just like that. Just kind of brush it either direction. This is where we're going to do our chippy. And you don't want it real solid. Just put it on at random. And some can go this direction. Some people don't like both directions. You can do it either way that you like. And you might see that that might not have been quite as dry as I want it to. It's working though. So we're just going to keep putting this on here. Just however you want to do it. A couple of places another direction, just give it another kind of dimension there. All right, let's do our bottom. Let's go ahead and turn this around. We'll do this other side. Now you don't want to put a complete full wax. That's going to take everything off. You just want some to highlight. I know that moved a little bit on me. And we're going to put a little bit in here. Does not have to be perfect strokes or anything else. This little brush does help. I'm going to put some down here now. And before you scrape it, you want your next coat on, which we're going to use Marshmallow, which is a white. And let's get it on. And I think we will use a sponge for that. We're going to just use a sponge instead of a brush. So now we're going to put our coat of Marshmallow on. This is your top coat over your wax. This is what you're going to scrape off. Now I'm using the white. You could use a cream, but back in, they usually used blue and white together, so I'm using the white. I'm going to put that all over. Painting is usually what takes your longest for these kind of crafts. Is just getting enough paint on there. And this little piece must be pretty dry wood because it does kind of soak it up. I don't know what kind of wood they used. This doesn't have to be a heavy coat on the top because this is what you're going to scrape off. So if it's not perfect, it's fine. Doesn't have to be exactly everywhere. It's still going to work. And sometimes when you chip this, it gets all the way down to the wood. So don't be surprised if some of your wood shows on there. That happens sometimes, and there's nothing wrong with that happening. It can be another chippy look for you. And let me get the bottom part. down here on the bottom the best that we can. Top coat can be lighter than you did your bottom coat. Does not have to be strong. I hope that y'all enjoy this, learning something and using something that you had from back in the day, or something that you found at a sale, an estate sale, or maybe in your parents' attic or basement you might find something. So now we're going to take our tool, and I'm just using one of these inexpensive tools. You can buy others. I do have others, but I found this one in the drawer, and that's what we're going to use. So I'm going to turn this to where you can see a little bit better. Let's see if we can turn it a little bit. All right, and we're just going to scrape it. I'm just going to turn it all the way around this way, and that way I can use my right hand. We're just going to scrape it off just in places. Doesn't have to be perfect. Sometimes they'll scrape better. It just depends on which way you do it. You also can use one of the little straight tools like this. I didn't get, you see how I got a little wood right there? That's okay, a little bit right there. That's okay if you have a little wood showing. I didn't get quite enough paint. I'm gonna wait on this side. I'll go back and do that. I didn't get quite enough paint over in there. So I'm gonna leave that and I'll come back to that side. And you're just gonna just chip it just the best that you can. A little bit on your edges. And sometimes it depends on the wood, on how well it will do chipping it. Some wood will do better than others. Okay, and if you didn't get enough, take you a little bit of a rough sandpaper and go around your edges a little bit. That's what I'm going to do on this piece here, because not as much came off. So I'm just going to use my sandpaper just a little bit to make it look a little bit more rough on the edges here. You definitely don't have to use the sandpaper if you don't. You can do a little easier, or put you a little bit more paint if you don't want as much of that wood coming through. So if you have a place that didn't do as well, and you just want to go up or down, either one, to chip the sides. So I would have liked for it to chip more, but it's looking okay. On the back if you want to. I'm not going to put one on there. I'm going to do a little bit of painting. We're just going to hope that it comes out. All we did. All right, so now we're going to style this simply. And I'm going to dry that just a little bit, though. Let's make sure we don't get any paint on my... This hangs on the wall, so all we're going to do is just style it just a little bit. I'm just going to be very simple today. So here's a little doily that I have, and either my aunt or my grandmother did this work. I have several of these. We're just going to put that over the shelf a little bit. I'll probably bring it out just a little bit more. I do see a place I'm going to have to fix it. So this is very old. They used to use these little cloths on their furniture. And then I'm going to use my mom's bird. And this is very old, and it probably is from the 80s. So that's all I'm going to do with that. I'm probably going to make this a little bit shorter. And I'm just going to hang this up. This will be your Granniecore. Just a little bird, because I don't have any of the ducks. But I did have this bird, and this was one that she's had for a while. It is hand painted. We can put a little bit of those sticky things underneath to help it stick. That would help as well. It is either some cross stitch and embroidery on this one. And then this is another one that I was given that's got just some gold thread. Sometimes they did just very simple. And this one's the same with some embroidered cross stitch. And we look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you.